Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the SAP. As always, it is your boy Dave Neal with Tasha Cordy and our guest Stephen Briggs. What's up, my man?
Hey, man. Thanks for having me. This is the best summer vibes podcast ever.
I know, and we just started.
It's great.
Wait till we grill you.
I can't wait until this is like our full-time gig. We're dreaming big these days. One of these days, we're going to have the dopest setup with a private outdoor area to record all of our podcasts.
Yeah, it's important for the vibe, I think, for just the guests, for like you. It's important to just chill, you know?
I think it's great.
Not trying to be in some library or something.
Exactly. You know, you feel really free. You're on the roof. You have a good view of everything going on around here.
And we don't end until the sun goes behind the Hollywood Hills sign. You can literally see it as like it hits your eyes. You're like, all right, I guess we got to go. And the sun's out. But yeah, I don't know. It's there's something like Pavlovian about putting these beers in that cooler, cracking some ice, like those sounds. There it is, you know? Just just squeezing a lime into that beer. I haven't had a nice beer in a while, so I'm excited. I let Steven decide what we were drinking today, so we're doing beers. I gave you the choice. Well, we also have the Bud Light seltzers, so maybe we'll move to that after if we're feeling liberal. We'll have to see how we do.
I'm going to need you to replenish for me for Friday, though.
Was Friday your drink day?
Friday's my drink day.
Tasha's in between medicine for her Lyme disease, so she's finally, after 2 years of no drinking, she's starting to be able to time a beverage.
Yeah, I can basically have a drink if I'm 3 days in either direction from a dose of this one medicine. So like I've been taking it every other week, but starting on Tuesdays. So by Friday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'll be allowed to have a drink.
And what happens if you drink on this medicine?
You'll get horrifically sick.
Really?
It's the same medicine they give alcoholics, right?
Yeah, it's also like what do they call
What's it called?
Off-label, used for for people who are alcoholics, because it just makes you so violently ill that it makes you like not want to drink ever again.
Have you ever got sick on it?
No.
She really?
You're willing to risk it.
I'm a rule follower, but I feel like I'm not going to go hard. I'm going to have a drink or two.
She had about 8 ounces on episode, I think, 398, right? Or 390. No, episode 399. 2 weeks ago, she had about 8 ounces of a Bud Light seltzer. I think I had to carry her downstairs.
It was so
She was ready to like order Chinese food.
I felt so good.
She was like a college freshman at the frat house. Yeah, it's kind of weird because of her, LA is also not really the biggest drinking culture city. So when I saw you last Sunday at that show, that was like the first drink I had in a while. I was getting pretty buzzed because I did a whiskey ginger after seeing it touch your lips. I was like, I need one of these.
Once they gave me the drink ticket, I was like, oh, yes.
That was an interesting way back for me because that was my first show back in 4 months. But you've done a few things, right? You've been
I'm a rule breaker, so you know what I mean? I've just been doing the shows. They're like, don't do them. I'm just like, well, what else am I going to do?
You got to get paid somehow.
There's too much time in the day. I'm just like, well, I go work out in the morning and then there's nothing else to do. I'm like, someone's like, you want to come do this show at this house party? I'm like, I guess.
I did Leon Walker's garage show the other day.
I was supposed to be there.
Oh, it's good. It's a really good setup.
Yes.
Oh my! Because it's outdoors, but he has those triangle cloth hanging shaped.
Yeah, those things are really nice. Those little canopies.
I told him I was going to show up too, and then
good crowd, good audience.
I was doing this random house party that was just like, they're like, I don't know, they're doing the two-step, and then they're like, hold on. We're like, well, you'll perform after we get our dancing in.
Yeah.
And it was just dancing.
Yeah, you're riding from behind.
How many people are at this house party?
I don't know.
Is it like
there was a bouncy house in there. I was like, there's a bouncy house here?
They're bouncing
and
around.
All the kids are jumping in there. I was like, okay, that is...
not sanitary.
No. You know they never clean those bouncy houses. No. They just deflate them and bring them to the next house.
That's it. They clean it with the tears of the kid that couldn't get up because he was getting popcorned the whole time. There's always that one kid. I want to get to where we are now, but I want to start because I'm actually excited for this chat because I really don't know you other than the casual how are you, which is always nice that you get to kind of learn about people just through their own Facebook postings and this and that.
Yeah.
But how long you been doing comedy and how long you been out in LA?
I've been doing comedy for 10 years and I've been out in LA for 8 years.
And where'd you start?
Started in San Diego.
Oh, San Diego.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're SoCal.
Yeah.
Is your family still in San Diego?
Yeah, but a lot of my family's in New York.
Oh, okay. In the like the city or upstate or
like Eastchester and the Bronx and just all over. And then I have other family over in Puerto Rico. So
oh wow, no way.
Yeah.
So and then you're in a long-term relationship?
I'm in a long-term, like 9 years.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yes. I know.
Live together?
Yeah, we live together.
Met out here?
We met out here, yeah.
Because
but
of
not
stand-up?
married.
We're not married.
Okay.
And she's 31 right now, and she's from New York, and she still doesn't have a driver's license.
Yeah, those New Yorkers,
I
they don't
know.
need one.
Well, she lives out here. She's lived out here for 9 years. And I was like, when are you going to get your license? And she's like, I just don't know. So,
Is she Puerto Rican?
no.
Oh, you didn't even get a Puerto Rican
No,
New
she's
Yorker.
Italian.
Oh, Italian. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, she's connected. She doesn't need.
Yeah, she's
you don't need
connected,
a license. She
yeah.
knows people. That's interesting. So, do you guys go back to New York to see like both of your families, or?
Her parents moved to Connecticut.
Okay.
So we'll go over there, and I'll go do some shows, and we'll visit her family, and yeah.
You have to do shows, and you got to always.
Dude.
Her family's
That's
in.
how you get the tax
Her
write-off.
family's in Cincinnati, and I'm always like, we're always there for Christmas, and I always book like 1 6-minute guest spot. It's like,
I mean, that's the only reason I'd go out to Connecticut for. You know what I mean? I'm not like trying to just.
There's a
hang out.
club when I started, because I started pretty much in New York, and there was a club called, I think, Joker's Wild in
Yes.
New Haven, Connecticut.
Uh-huh.
Is that still around? Or it's probably, I mean, that was like.
Who knows what's still around after this?
Tank.
Yeah.
People think Connecticut that don't know, and they think Yale. That's Connecticut's white trash, whatever's between Boston and New York.
Connecticut is also like the most expensive place ever. Like everyone that I know from Connecticut is filthy rich.
Yeah, well, that's Greenwich. That's like New York suburbs.
Okay.
And then you've got, I mean, there's nice coastal towns and all that, but Joker's Wild is like a lot of like tribal band tattoos and tank tops. Maybe it was just the night I was there. I don't know, but it's like it's white ghetto. I would call it white ghetto. Everyone's vaping. They're
Dave brings in the tribal tattoos. They're like, yeah.
That's a fad. I
My
don't know.
brother has one, and I'm like so embarrassed for him.
How old are you?
I'm 32.
You're 30. I'm 35. So you were still on the young side of tribal tattoos.
Well, I
because-
have a brother that's like edging on 50. He would kill me if he watches this, and I tell his exact age. So
Well, I don't know
he looks
how
really young,
or
so.
why tribal tattoos became popular, but there was a time, and it was right when my generation like hit 18, when everyone's trying to get a tattoo,
Yeah.
that you had to get the barbed wire with the with the Chinese whatever, and that was it. And then
Yeah.
all the women got the tramp stamps. That was like not a bad idea at the time. The fact that you didn't get a tramp stamp living in Kentucky, you must have had a lot of people get tramp stamps.
Yeah, I would say. And I'm kind of trying to think of like what were popular designs. I feel like like a dolphin on the ankle was like a thing
You
that
know,
people
it
would
was-
get when they go to Myrtle
yeah.
Beach, or like maybe a butterfly, like
a koi fish. I always saw dudes with koi fish.
Yeah, what's up
Yeah.
with that's not a masculine thing.
I don't know. Everyone was like koi fish,
And then now the sleeve, the MMA sleeve, is sort of, I guess, popular. But
Yeah.
that's such a commitment that I don't think you just like do that on a whim.
I
You
think
don't
the
go to
face tats now are popular.
the Post Malone kind of look.
Yeah, like I see people with face tats all the time.
That,
Really?
Yeah.
I think that has to be a West Coast thing.
Well, I think tattoos in general are a West Coast thing. I mean, there are tattoos everywhere, but I remember when I was still pretty young, maybe like my second or third year of college, I came out to the West Coast, and all of my bosses had tattoos in like a corporate professional environment. And I was really surprised by that, because my mom always had like this stigma of people who have tattoos as just sort of like trashy and unemployable. And that's what she would tell me every time I wanted to get a tattoo.
Yeah.
But then I came out here and I was like, no, all these people are cool. They've got like colored hair and tattoos, full sleeves, women too.
But that's going to be the strategy when we like if and when we ever have kids, is how can you guide them what to do without pushing them too far that they sneak home and have this sleeve tattoo that you didn't want them to get, you know? Because like I don't know what, like you've got purple hair, but that can rinse out, you know?
Yeah, that's
tattoos
true.
can be you get the tattoo that
Well, you
creeps up
can
to
get
the
it
neck or
removed, but it hurts.
well, now
and
you
it's
can.
expensive.
Yeah, but it's a whole thing. Like the fact that you didn't get a tattoo because your mom didn't, because Tasha's
I didn't get a
big
tattoo
time.
because I'm indecisive.
The fact that she
Not
says
because-
she's a rule keeper, is that what you said?
Rule follower?
Rule follower is funny because if you tell her to go left, she's going right. Like if I tell her whatever, she'll follow if the government tells her, fine. But if I tell her what to do, she's like, I will find a way to do whatever it is that you don't want. And that's
Maybe
just
a
getting
little
back at her
obstinate.
mom somehow. Like I call her mom and go, yeah, Jeannie, that's right. She didn't listen to me either. Like, do you pay the price? Do you pay the price in your relationship for something that has nothing to do with you?
I try to avoid all situations. I'm like, it's like I do this technique now where I don't argue back. Like if,
wow.
Yeah, I just don't fight back, and that just makes her get really angry more. But eventually, she'll just burn herself out.
Yeah, because I think I like to generalize, but I think women like to poke at you when they don't think when the pond is nice and clear and it's quiet. They just like to skip rocks at you just to see that you're still alive. You were cattle prodding me today about something.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You were cattle prodding me in the kitchen, and you were like accusing me of it. It didn't even matter. It was just something. I was like, just tell me you want attention, and then you like grinned, and I was like, I'll talk to you. But it's like, God forbid we just shared our communicate and said, hey, I'd like some attention. You want to take a break? I'd be like, yeah, sure. But instead you're like, well, you gonna clean up over here? I'm like, what do you want?
What has been your guys' biggest fight?
It's always, this is the one thing that's given me faith in the relationship, is all the big fights are so over the top, if I explained them to you, that they're overcomeable. Yes. It's like trying to pitch a tent together, trying to put a surfboard on a roof.
Trivial things. But yeah, we did get in a big fight trying to put a surfboard on the roof and trying to pitch a tent, working together. But this, well, to be fair, both of those were at the beginning of our relationship where we really hadn't mastered each other's like communication style. And now I think we do a better job.
Well, I let you do whatever it is you want to do.
I'm a good manager.
If we make a nice pie, she's going to want to cut it. That's just it. She's going to want to put the final touches on the icing cake. That's just it. So I've learned, if you want to tie the thing with a rope and I know that rope's not going to work, I'll pick the pieces up on the highway. Like I'll let her try her way, because I know deep down it's not about me. She's just like, let me try it. Let me do it. Like if we but the best thing was the first family vacation I went on with Tasha. They get the rental car, they get the Jeep, and your mom just hitting every button trying to program something, and you're like, let me do it. I'll do it. And then you had to be the one to program the Jeep button. And I was like, see, it's not me. It's not, you do it with other people.
No, but you know what that is that like sometimes you know how to do it. Like I know how to pitch my own tent. So when you came on the camping trip with me and we're just getting in the way, I'd rather you step back and just let me do it, because I know how to do it.
And I did. And I went to go build a hammock.
Stop messing up the whole car, pressing everything, and just let me do what she wants done.
And you can figure out what that control issue is that you have.
Knowing stuff?
I mean, because for me, like the other day.
I feel like I'm your guy's therapist. Yeah. Like I opened up a wormhole.
No, you are, and I appreciate it.
We really needed this.
Yeah, I can tell. It's like, well,
over.
You do this and you get in my way, and I know how to do it. It's like, yeah, but listen, like
I grew up with a stepdad. He's the greatest guy, Luke, and he knows everything there is to know about cars. If a car drives by, he'll tell you what it was based on the sound of the engine. And I don't know how to do anything about cars because he would not teach me. I'm very highly coachable. He wouldn't teach me. He would just like fiddle with something with his chubby fingers and then ask me to hand him a wrench. And yesterday with Tasha, I was trying to get you to teach me how to do this one thing on Photoshop. And you were like, just let me do it. And I was like, honey, show me.
But I wanted to show you how to do it, because just trying to talk you through how to do it from the couch wasn't working. So I came over, I sat down next to you, I took control of the mouse.
Well, you skipped one.
You showed you how to do it.
No, you did 4 things, and I go, honey, that was way too fast. And then I told you with my words, show me slower, because I don't want to have to ever ask you how to do this again. I know what it takes to learn something. I have to see it through, maybe even do it 2 or 3 times in a row. Muscle memory. Just like if you're ever like writing a joke and like you keep flubbing the punchline, you say it slow. You kind of hit it, so that way when it's in front of people, you don't want to make that mistake again.
Yeah.
And we've gotten a lot better at that. So I think like you were saying how you know how to avoid certain confrontations.
I mean, I only get mad on one thing, and it's like ridiculous. I don't even think it's like that big of a deal, but I just get upset. Like, I don't know. You probably don't do this, but she'll never put anything back in the same place.
Him.
That's you?
Him.
Dude.
Him.
Why do you do that?
In my house, everything has a place where it belongs.
Why?
So if you get it out, you can just put it back where it belongs, and we'll never have a lost item.
I'm like, where is the toothpaste? And it's like in the car. I'm like, how did it get here? Why is it in the car? She's like, oh, well, because I was brushing my teeth, and then I had to go get some in the car, and I dropped it in there. I'm like, what the hell? Just put it back.
The difference being, I think if I put 1 can of chili on the wrong shelf, that throws her day off. versus I don't leave toothpaste in the glove compartment.
I mean, that's an extreme one, but like
he can't seem to put the cap back on the toothpaste either.
Like
this is a big one. We get more people writing in about this
because we've mentioned this on the podcast before, and now women from all over the world send me photos on Instagram of the caps that their husbands have left off of the toothpaste.
Problem is when I notice something that you do wrong, I just don't address it. Squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Why don't
right?
you just get toothpaste that has the cap already attached, so it just snaps open and then closes?
That's an amazing idea. I've never thought of that.
But you know the problem with those though is that like I mean I don't know that you're necessarily bad about this, but it gets all over the side and then it doesn't close fully and properly. You know what I mean? It just kind of sits half open.
Tasha will attest to this. I am an improvement from where I come from with my family.
Yes.
Where I come from, there are no caps on any of the toothpaste because there's 4 toothpastes. They've all crusted over the edges. And there's just toothpaste. I have younger brothers, and they probably are too old to have this excuse anymore. They're 22 and 16, but there's still just toothpaste everywhere. We just couldn't figure it out. I don't come from that place. I come from a chaotic environment. So for me to like ever be criticized because, you know, the baked beans are on the wrong aisle, I'm just like, honey, this is
wrong aisle.
You know, like she knows we both
How
have.
big is your place?
We have aisles.
Yeah,
it's right below the sunset where we are right now, so it's really small. But yeah, when you do live in a small place, you can't. I do understand like Tasha's appreciation for those things, so I do value it. But like when we it sounds like we're kind of talking about love languages here. I know that whatever she wants innately, I'll never be that person, but I can at least try so we can meet in the middle somewhere.
Yeah.
Because what the biggest thing that pisses me off about her is that she's like an old Dell laptop. If I want her to do something, it takes 3 minutes before she responds because she's working on something else. So her processors are just like...
Yeah, I do have like a very slow ancient processor from time to
you've
time.
got Toshiba laptop energy in a MacBook world, honey.
I can only do one thing at a time, honey. So
and
my brain is focused on a different task.
So
I've got
the coffee. I'm ready to go. I'm shooting. I'm firing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, babe, what do you think of this? And then 3 minutes later, what did you say? I don't know what I said. I'm on to the next thing.
You're like that computer with 3 screens.
Yeah, exactly.
You know
the Bloomberg computer.
Yeah, you can slide it all the way across.
I'm Minority Report.
Yes.
Now, what do you do that pisses her off? Because there's got to be the equal and opposite.
Okay. There's probably a lot of things, but this is probably the most recent one. I was just like brutally honest on something she made.
Oh boy.
And I didn't think it was good. So she made this pie, but she took the Himalayan sea salt and instead of like grinding it, she's like, oh, I'll just throw it in the processor and it'll grind it in the processor. But it didn't. So there's just chunks of Himalayan sea salt in the pie. And I was like, did you make a salt pie? And she's like, it's good, eat it. And I was like, and then she takes a bite and she's like, I see her face, but now she's committed. So now she has to keep on eating it. And I was like, it sucks, doesn't it? And she's like, no, it's good. And she's like finishing it. I'm just like, I see her like.
It's funny when the tongue doesn't lie because it's like your tongue knows like. Like
she was so mad that I just wouldn't eat it. I was like, I can't eat this.
That's so funny.
I was like, what did you do? And then eventually I got it out that she threw the salt. And I was like, why didn't you just grind it? She goes, I thought the processor. And then eventually she admitted it. But yeah, there was she was mad at me for not finishing the pie.
You're like, that's the problem with the guys is like, we'll look for the forensic report because we're like, I feel like I always want to know what I fucked up if I'm cooking so I can like make it better the next time. So I'll be like, honey, did you bake this or boil it? Like because Tasha's burnt many batches of broccoli, and that's something that should never be burned. But it's because you'll be boiling, you'll boil broccoli, and then you'll just forget. And the next thing you know, there's a burning smell, and you'll be like, "Oh fuck!" And you'll just run into the other room.
What did it yesterday? I was in charge of a pizza and burnt it.
I say this. She calls me. I say this every time that Tasha's just got this stoned 15-year-old boy energy, where she'll like cook something. I mean, I can't tell you how many times.
Stoned 15-year-old Lenovo boy energy.
Yeah, just got Lenovo boy energy. Somebody make that product and ship it to us. But I'll open the microwave and there'll be a pot of water, and I'm like, honey, were you trying to make tea last night? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So look, hey,
right.
we're not all perfect, Tasha. That's the but so like, are you guys zoned in? I mean, you've been dating for 9 years. Are you zoned in on what you You know,
actually,
you know
a lot. Now the more that I think about it, a lot of things like I showed up with this hair yesterday. This was random. She didn't expect that, and she's like,
what were you, platinum? You were white hair before?
Yeah, I just did that without her knowing too.
Oh, nice.
And
Is this
like,
a quarantine thing? Or?
Yeah, it's just like whatever. I'm like bored, like whatever. Like,
yeah, live
my
your
barber
life.
opened up, and he's this sassy man named Eddie. He's like, hey, and I come in, and he goes, what are we doing today? I'm like, Eddie, go crazy. And he's like, how about we do blonde on the top, and then you have the beard like this, and he's like, you look like Zac Efron. And I was like, okay, and he did it, and then I was like, I'm with the other like hairstylists, like, what do you think? And they look over like, oh honey, he does not look like Zac Efron. I was like, oh. So then I've just been like changing it, like whatever.
I like that. Yeah, you got the Dennis Rodman energy where like we don't know what we're gonna get.
I love Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he must have had a full team of people working on his hair.
Oh,
because he had like the little crop circles of different colors, and he was doing a different haircut every. I don't know how his hair took that. You know,
probably not good.
Yeah, like no, it can't be good for you.
But also, he had like it was like pretty low, so it must not be that
grows
hard.
out pretty quickly. I mean, you could, if you keep your hair short, you could potentially have completely new hair every 3 weeks.
That's a good point.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I've never. I did. Speaking of things we do when we're young, I did hydrogen peroxide in my hair. I did that when I was probably 8th grade.
To try and bleach it?
Yeah.
Did it work?
Everyone was doing it where I come from.
Did it work?
Yeah, it would be like a yellow orange.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I have a. There was 1 month, but then we're talking late 90s, right? So there's no photographs of this that I know. I mean, there might be hard copy. My mom might have somewhere, but that's the beauty of back in the day is that what you did is
quarantine. You could do it again.
I could. I've been thinking of different things. Tasha's been wanting to give me a mullet, but we haven't stepped up on it. The mullet's
I really want like the Eurotrash sort of mohawk mullet.
Like
look.
You just shave the sides? And then
like shorter on the sides, not completely shaved, but like that sort of clipped, cropped, and then all of this is like fluffy and long, and you get the little like ducktail down here.
God, you look like a GTA character.
I would love that. Yeah, as a guy, especially as comedians, white guys, we don't have too many things we can do.
No.
And women can change. Hey man, what's up? Women can change their eyeshadow. You put it up versus down, and you're in a completely different mood. Your lip liner. You know, your eyeliner.
Gotcha.
Your eyeliner, your blush. You can do so many things. The only thing I've done is a mustache. I'm a completely. I think I get about 20% more love from an audience when I got a mustache.
So why don't you keep the mustache fully then all the time?
I hate it.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Why do you hate it?
It just looks pervy and weird.
Really?
It's not a good look.
But the audience loves it. So maybe there's something wrong with you.
No, they're laughing. That's why they like it. They're laughing at you.
But it's like a fat guy who can go on stage and build empathy right away. By looking so stupid, you build this quick amounts of empathy. You know, do you know what I mean? Like
Wait,
you build.
All fat guys look stupid when they go on stage.
No, he's saying his mustache.
Oh,
No, my
okay.
mustache.
I was like, why do they look dumb?
No, but like if you're a fat guy or you have one arm or if you've got something that's not the norm.
Okay.
Apologize to our fat audience, but if you're not a comedian, you got to realize.
If you have something that sticks out, you can make a joke easily right away and address it and get people to like you. Right
it's
away.
like in LA, they say lose 10 pounds or gain 40. That's kind of like the thing. Either you're Zac Efron or you're Seth Rogen. Pick one. And I'm kind of in between. Probably lean more towards Seth Rogen, but I'm not.
You look like you're in good shape.
Well, not Zac Efron
a
shape.
sexy Chris Evans went on stage super ripped and tan and nice hair and a beautiful face. Everyone's just gonna be like, okay, douchebag, instead of tuning in to think he's funny. Do you agree?
I would say no.
No?
No,
Do you
because
think Chris Evans can be funny?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I think
charming.
I think like automatically you're like he looks different, so you're like, okay, what does this guy have to say? And as long as he's not I think you'll give him more of the benefit of the doubt at the beginning, but if he's just mediocre, then you're going to really tear him down.
Yeah, we're talking, this gets you from the host introducing you to your first 2 jokes. That's all it is.
Yeah, if his first 2 jokes are really good, people are going to be like, that's awesome, and he's hot. Let's put him on a TV show.
I think in general, when anybody has the balls to get up on stage
Yeah.
alone and start telling jokes that we have we want to trust them. They seem trustworthy because you wouldn't be trying this if you didn't sort of know.
Well, you haven't seen some of these open mics then.
I was going to say, that's a very Midwestern optimism.
Yeah.
I think in LA, you've seen enough that if you see someone bomb on stage, I do agree with you, Tasha, everywhere but LA, maybe New York, but I think when you do see, by seeing someone bomb on stage, most audiences are performers. I think they feel a little bit better about their chances. I don't know. Everywhere's different. I felt like I ate a hot one on that show we did. I just felt, ugh.
Really? Why? How do you feel?
I don't know. I told myself going into it, don't be too hard on myself because I haven't done stand-up in 4 months. And like, I'm just going to try to get through it. I felt like whenever I pitch in a baseball league, but sometimes I have to bat. And whenever I bat, I go, just don't fucking look stupid. Make contact. That's how I felt on stage. Just make contact. Hit a couple jokes. Just try to get off there without, sabotaging your set,
You're on the baseball league now?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, this whole year is canceled. But,
okay.
But yeah, don't look foolish. That's the first step. You want to do well, but also in that instance, I was like, don't self-hate. Because
sometimes you're just happy getting through it.
I can sabotage a set real quick. I mean, I can really go in on
why do you say you sabotage it?
I know. Well, I definitely do, and I think it's more like if I don't get the response I think I want,
you get mad at them?
Yeah, but I won't be like, fuck you guys, these are funny. I won't I'm not an idiot, so but I feel like I probably would have done that first year, been like, I know this is funny, and that's the worst way you can bomb.
Yeah.
But now it's more like, I'm just like, this isn't going. Like, I'll be the first one to address a bomb when I probably shouldn't address it till maybe it's like really evident I'm bombing, Well,
sometimes if you just address that the joke's not funny, it gets a laugh.
Yeah.
It's like if you're like, I'm gonna toss that one out.
Yeah.
Puts you on the road to recovery a
People
little
are like,
bit.
oh, he has self-awareness, and we can ride with this guy.
Yeah.
And not like somebody that's like, and they're doing all this stuff, and people are like, this is not funny, and they're like, wow, and they're like all over the top. And
that's like someone who's, there's that type of energy that's like, if I bomb, I'm not going to let someone notice from outside the window. You know what I mean? If they're just looking at me visually, they're not going to know I'm bombing. But I think it's really I think I'm very sensitive and a high level of empathy. So if I feel like the audience isn't with me, and even if it's like, they're just not happy to be there. It's like, let's do some crowd work with you. And that's kind of like, I should probably let that go. I don't know if that's more of a New York thing. You see someone with their arms crossed and you feel like picking on them, but you got to have the audience before you do that. If you're going to shit on someone in the crowd, you better be likable. And I actually wanted to talk about this. There was something I read about. Now, Tasha, you're going to have to help me with this. 2 traits. This wasn't meant for stand-up, but it's meant, we talk, about dating and relationships, so it's good when you just meet new people. But 2 traits that are good for being highly successful in life is competence. Tell me what the other one is.
Warmth is the primary characteristic. It's for developing trustworthiness. So when a person walks in the room, you judge them first on their warmth and second on their competence. Although some would argue that is true for women, but when you meet a man, you judge them in reverse. You judge their competence and then their warmth. But if people have both of those traits, then you trust them.
Which is important as a comic, that you want people to trust you, so you want to be funny, but also more so, in addition to being funny, I feel like you want to be believable that you belong there. So I feel like if you're doing a set in some podunk town, people are like, oh shit, Stephen Briggs is in town. Fuck yeah. Oh, we have a real comedian in town. So you've already got that competence built up. But if you're doing a set in an open mic, people don't even know if you're funny or not. So then you got to win them over. So it's about kind of if you don't have any momentum starting, how do you start? And that's kind of for guys, if you're trying to meet someone at a bar, they always used to say, walk into the bar smiling, look like the bartender, because what you're trying to do is if someone checks you out, show them that you're not just some nervous Nelly in the corner. So I feel like it applies to interviews, stand up, maybe walking into an audition, I don't know. What do you think? You feel warmth, Tasha? You're giving me the cold shoulder. That's not warmth.
I'm not trying to give you the cold shoulder. I'm just thinking about it. Yeah, it's interesting, and I think the male-female dynamic is really interesting too. That we are willing to give guys a pass. Say, I don't know, someone coming to fix your sink or something shows up. You trust that this guy, at least he looks like he knows what he's doing. He doesn't have to be nice to you for you to trust that he can handle the job.
You just want them to get done and leave. I don't care about warmth or I'm just the problem and like I'm walking around in my underwear, like
you almost,
do your thing,
you almost don't want warmth. You want competence.
I don't
you
want
fix my legs.
It's like,
want both.
hey, what are you eating over there? And it's like,
But
warmth up front, I feel like is really nice. It's a nice bonus from anybody.
Yeah, up front, warmth up front.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, Tasha's always making it about gender. Always about women don't get that.
You bring up the warmth. I'm actually cautious if someone brings too much warmth.
Oh,
Yeah.
like
Off
a
the bat?
slick salesman?
Because it
Yeah,
doesn't
because
feel
then I
genuine.
know they're up to something.
Yeah.
You know they're up to because like they're like too like warmth and like they're trying to like be like it's like they have a hidden agenda.
Yeah.
And I thought about it because like I've been like tricked so many times. Now I can see it, and I'm like.
Tricked and
because I'm just like, oh, this person's a really nice person, and then they're not really a nice person. There's something going on.
That's the benefit that we have by not being super successful, is that we don't have to worry about people's ulterior motives. We really don't. And if
you think that, but even from the lowest to the highest,
what do you want from me? What do you need? What do you have? You have
just
me?
yeah. There's like I just am cautious.
I totally hear
very
that.
Cautious.
But I totally hear that. But also, like the anonymity that we have now, at least more, we broadcast everything, but we don't do it on that platform where anything we say can get us in trouble or people really care where we live. Like there must be something really creepy about being like super famous or just successful. Like say I ran a very, very successful stand-up show in LA. Then everyone wants to talk to you. Like there's always this, demand supply type of thing that happens in our town because we don't operate business separate from our peer groups. Mm. And I think a lot of places, like we'll go back to Joe the plumber, like he can have a tough day at work and not have to worry that all of his friends hate him. If we have a tough day at work, we might have told off somebody and then they blog about it, and it's like we don't have that separation of community really, which you see when people get shamed. They not only lose like their stature in their job, but they also lose like their respect from their friends. And that's all probably based due to social media, that we've let the people into our homes to a level that like we have to hold ourselves to a higher level. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think. Well, I was just gonna say that like your friends forgive you. Your friends, like if you screw up on something, your friends are not your friends unless they're like with you along for the ride. Like they can say, yeah, you made a mistake, but like I know you want to do better, and they're still your friends. If someone just writes you off completely, then that wasn't a friend to begin with. That would have just been a somebody in your community.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting though, because we don't have to deal with anyone having a real motive other than like we try to get people on the podcast and people we want to talk to and get to know really. But aside from that, we don't have I'll tell you this, I don't respond to PR companies, and the amount of PR companies that will reach out to get their guest on, it has always been a bad experience. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, not to compare myself to him, but I feel like Joe Rogan's the same way. I do it for a different reason because it's like it just feels like so lecherous when someone comes on the podcast, promotes their shit, and then you never talk to them again. It's like we're not trying to fuck with we're not trying to always make best friends here, but like we're trying to build our network of people we like. Our community.
Of course. You want to do stuff with people you like.
And then we've had that where the the PR person shows up with their celebrity, not celebrity, but like their actor or whatever. They talk, they barely open up, they promote their thing, and then it's gone and not a retweet about it. And I don't even care about the retweet so much as like, I just feel used. Tasha hasn't been here for any of those episodes.
That's not true at all.
Have you been here for where the PR person's sitting in the next room?
Yeah.
So I don't want to ask who, but it's the worst. So I've just decided like, unless it's somebody I already wanted to talk to, it's usually just not. Like, no offense to them, but if they're going down the ladder to my podcast, then they've already been rejected from because everyone wants, that's a problem. And it's like anything in life, right? Everyone wants to be on Mark Maron. Like, that's the home run if you wrote a book. Yeah. This is a good podcast to like have long form chats with our friends about dating, relationships, and stand up and all that. But like, we're still like in the middle grounds fighting the battle. Does that make sense, Tasha?
Yeah.
Really selling us here.
No, and I think all of our listeners know this.
By the way, shout out to Deirdre Deirdre just gave us did I say it wrong?
No, you're getting better.
She's we have this nice listener in Georgia, and she just sent us a very charitable Venmo donation. So
nice.
These people,
thank you, Deirdre.
These people are just great. They're out there. They know we're stuck in the middle of LA, not working, doing our thing. And some of our listeners have just been so loyal. Christian's always loyal. Oz, we got a whole bunch of them. Just give them a quick shout out. Tasha, could you pass me what I hope to be a Bud Light Seltzer Mango?
I can do that.
I'm gonna go with this mango. It's been something about mango and alcohol has been on my mind lately.
Yeah,
Thank you.
On top.
There's another one
Are
if
you
you want
doing
one.
all
I mean,
No
why
pressure
not?
to you. Yeah, go for it. There it is.
Go for
Now,
it.
do you ever go to any of Dave's shows?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I try not to.
Why do you say I try not to?
No, I just, I like to pick and choose. Make sure that, like, I'm going to a fun spot instead
Tasha's
of
a highly sensitive person.
Thank you.
Oh, this is good. I would have never
You'd never guess.
handpicked the mango, but we've already gone through the other flavors, and this is a good one. Tasha's a highly sensitive person, so if the lighting's wrong or she's got a draft, it's not always a good setup. If I have to leave her to prep for my set, give myself a few minutes. I'm not saying Tasha's, you're not difficult at all with like the neediness. Like you can walk in a room and be alone, but I know that it takes a lot out of you, and I don't need that if I'm getting ready to do a set.
Well, I think that's part of it too. It's just like, I'll come and support when it's like a fun environment where I know that there's like not a lot of pressure, but I don't want to be like one other thing that you kind of have like worried about in the back of your mind. If it's like a new venue that you haven't been to before, or if it's like a high pressure sort of show. But like, we go to some really fun places around here, like big outdoor spots, fun bars, live music, like if it can be more of an experience that's not just like me showing up and hanging out.
Now, has he ever brought you to a show? He goes, hey, sit here. This is where I'm sitting. I'm going to go look at my set. You sit down. He walks away, and then you look on the table, and on the table is the toothpaste cap.
I knew it.
I thought you were going to say that I sat her down and someone immediately hit on her, because I had Mark Norman hit on her at a comedy festival, and I told him, he didn't even remember, which was funny. I told him like a year later, he's like, I had no idea, because he's just batting 1,000, just running game. But yeah, one time Tasha was taking my photos at a comedy show, and like I feel like we were getting hit on during my set, which is, I mean, hey, you got to appreciate it, guys. We've had when this SAP sign was the stage, I was telling Steven before the set that used to be a part of a stage before I cut it up. When I was taking a stage off of a show, what was that comic's name? He raps?
I have no clue.
White guy that raps, glasses. I can't remember his name.
I don't know.
Does that Malibu show? Oh man,
I don't know.
You'll know. I can't remember his name. I'm not afraid to mention it because it wasn't like a faux pas. He wasn't trying to hit on another comic's girl, but he like asked you for your number right after my set, and I was like, "Did you not see us like loading the car up together? We just did a show in front of like a 20-person audience, a very intimate show." But I truly believe he didn't know. But that stuff hasn't happened in a while. But that's not a fear of mine. It's just like, oh, wow, that guy's got game. He actually asked you for your phone number. You remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, now I do.
At that show that...
So he rapped, then got off stage. He's like, did you hear those 16 bars? What's your number? Is that what happened?
Aren't you impressed?
Yeah. He's like, did you hear the flow?
And you wouldn't think this guy had that kind of game. So I was part of
So he did have good game.
Well, he asked her for her number, which I think is better than most people.
I mean, look, I walk down the street and homeless people ask my girlfriend for the
yeah,
her
right.
number.
Run it by.
Doesn't mean that they have good game.
Run us by what he said. Was it good game?
I have no idea. I'm not even sure that I'm thinking about the right person.
You know who has good game? Leo Flowers. Shout out to Leo Flowers. You know who Leo Flowers is?
No.
Oh, he's a comedian. Like I've gone like overseas to perform with him for the troops. Like we did like Guantanamo Bay and all these other cool places. This guy, he will just like, if he sees someone he wants to hit on, he'll hit on him. And he just tells me all these stories. I remember he was like, one time he walked to a table of girls. He doesn't know who they are. He just walks up and he asked this girl for her number. And she goes, I'm kind of seeing somebody. He goes, oh, is that how you want to go through life? Just kind of doing shit. And all her friends are like, ah! And then he's like, I got the number.
And
he's like, and then we dated.
Run if you don't swing the bat.
Then he dated another girl. He said he saw this girl from like a reality show, like an MTV reality show, in the laundromat. And he goes, oh, dang. He's like, how can I get her? And he remembered that she went to the same college as his ex-girlfriend. So he went up to her and he's like, hey, I recognize you. And she thinks he's going to say MTV. He goes, yeah, you were in a picture with my ex-girlfriend, a college photo. And she's like, what? Like he could see that she was like not into it. He goes, yeah. He goes, I had to break up with her because she had really hairy legs. And then she started laughing, and then he started dating her. And I was like, this guy's great.
I'm not surprised because
he's also like buff and like a good-looking guy.
Yeah, but I think
the
key in Los Angeles, but I think anywhere, is don't say what they've heard 1,000 times. So with the internet, with online dating, it's always, hey, what are you doing? Or some stupid thing. Yeah. But if you can talk to somebody about something that's like
hairy legs.
Yeah, it's so stupid, but
he was
absolutely.
telling me this. We're in Cuba, and we're watching Game of Thrones on my phone because we're like, oh, it's the season now or whatever. And he's like, I'm just holding the phone like this. He goes, tells me if your hand gets tired. And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And you can see my hand, like, after like 10 minutes, like my arm's shaking. He's like, you want me to hold it? I'm like, no, I got it. And he's like, just give me the damn phone because like he couldn't watch it. And this girl comes down and like she's like, hey, you guys watching Game of Thrones? We're like, yeah, we wanted to go get something to eat, but they shut down the little grocery store. And she's like, oh, well, I got some stuffed jalapenos upstairs. She goes, if you guys want, I'll make you some stuffed jalapenos. And we're like, that would be great. And then she walks away and I look at Leo and he's like, you thinking what I'm thinking? I'm like, is she trying to hit on you? And he goes, I think so. And I'm like, you want me to get out of here? He goes, yeah, it's probably the best. And so the next day I'm at brunch and he comes down and I see him and I'm like, what's up, man? I'm like, how did everything go? He goes, so she came down. She brought me up for the jalapenos. We closed the door. He goes, I went for the kiss. She goes, what the hell are you doing? And he goes, this is what you brought me up here for, right? And she goes, no, it's jalapenos I made you. And she points and there's like steaming jalapenos. And I was like, so what did you do? He goes, I sat down and I ate those damn jalapenos. And I left.
The second you think you understand what women want and what they're trying to vibe with you, you don't know. Because for every
I thought she was hitting on him too, to be fair.
For every story where you think someone's being hit on and you're like, stuffed jalapenos, that's the code word. For every story like that, there's another time where you literally don't think you're about to get laid and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, you were into me? This was a thing?
Well, she invited him up to have the jalapenos. She could have brought the jalapenos down. And so that's what made him think, oh, she's like into me.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Obviously,
I'm like, she's not into me.
on jalapenos.
I know.
Because he misread the room.
Oh, damn you, Leo.
What if she was trying to fuck you?
No, definitely not. Like, if you put us next to each other, you're going to be like, let me get that guy. That guy looks like he could defend me if I get attacked by a mugger.
But that's what's interesting is that we talked about this last episode, but I feel like female pickup lines are just like fishing, knowing you just have to cast a line and some fish is gonna, like, if you're a woman and you just have to say hi. But as a guy, you've got to have the lure with the little mirror that shines and the fake fish that's running. You gotta pull out all the stops just to get someone's attention. Because just like you said, that story about someone who's like kind of dating somebody, they call it like a shit test. But and again, these are terms that have been around. But like women sometimes will be like, I'm not into you. And then it turns out they are. So like when you talk about consent, you always want consent, but sometimes when you hit on somebody, you need to know deep down, are we going to step 2 of this? And sometimes that's, you.
Yeah, but a girl doesn't always know when a stranger approaches her whether or not this guy's like a good idea.
What's that thing they say though about women?
There's a little bit of like tentativeness, it's like a little bit of a dance. Like, I don't know.
Don't they say women know in the first 13 seconds if they want to sleep with a guy or not?
Yeah, I think that's true.
Is that true? I don't know.
Coming from the 2 non-women sitting here?
Listen, we're doing jalapeno poppers tonight.
Credible website article.
There's a blog. I pulled it up in my Toshiba.
There's a blog written by a man.
Look, I've heard this. I've heard women know right away because you're doing the choosing, and then every woman has a sort of set amount of time that they'll give. That's kind of their like comfort zone before they'll have sex. And the average I've heard is 6 hours, which might be 2.5 dates. It might be 2 dates. It might be one long day. But if you spend 6 hours with somebody, that's on average the amount of time before you'll have sex. And people can be listening and just start doing the math. Well, we met for coffee. That was an hour. Then we did this. That was 3 hours. Third date, we fucked. There it is, 6 hours. Like, you never know. We knew each other for about 700 hours before we dated this prude over here. But that's a whole nother story here.
That's good, right? You build rapport,
yeah,
I guess?
Whatever you want to call it, sure. No, but yeah, Tasha, you're on point with saying that your defense system comes up, because sometimes you might have just gotten accosted by a homeless guy, and then all of a sudden your knight in shining armor's hitting on you, and you're like, fuck you, and then you turn around and he's got nice blue eyes.
There's definitely an element of like being attracted to someone that's evident right away, but just because you're attracted to someone doesn't mean that you're going to start talking to them and like definitely vibe or like feel like they're a nice guy instead of a douchebag. Like those things take a little time. So you might like get that initial attraction.
Yeah.
And know like, oh, I would be interested in maybe pursuing this. But sometimes someone approaches you and you're not necessarily like very like over the top attracted to them, but if they say the right things, seem like a nice guy, are polite, genuine, whatever, checks your boxes, then you might be willing to pursue that further.
But that sounds like a chump that you just described. Yeah, he was a nice guy. He checked all the boxes. That sounds like that sounds like you're going to be cheating on him in 2 weeks.
The kids call it a simp.
Yeah, that's the new term is a simp.
Yeah.
That's a new term. But you got jalapeno poppers over here. He hits a serve. She whips it back twice as hard, and then he just goes, "Oh yeah,
yeah.
Well, why are you with that guy?" Boom. Drops the mic.
No filter in the brain. I think
that's
like
what it works comic, ready to go, crowd work. Like, you're not going to tell me something I haven't heard already. And part of that's like, you got to meet a lot of people because you're going to be super nervous and blow. It's like going on auditions or interviews. You're going to blow it 20 times. The second you don't give a fuck, oh shit, he doesn't give a fuck. Yeah. That means that he doesn't have much to lose. All right, he's cool.
Yeah, he's pretty like straightforward. I remember one time, one of our friends, I don't want to say his real name, so I'll just call this guy Theodore. So Theodore's talking to me and Leo, and he's like, "Yeah, guys," he goes, "I'm really having a hard time." He's like, "I found out I'm a sex addict, and I'm not proud to say this, but I've had sex with over 100 women." And then Leo goes, "Oh, I've easily cracked that number." I was like, "Oh my God." This guy's like having a mental breakdown. You're like...
That's what I love about the camaraderie when you can like open up about something that you think is so dark or whatever. And then someone's like, "Yeah, I got that beat." It's like the second you're willing to talk about your issues, you realize like, yeah, we're all kind of weird. We've all got our thing. I don't know. No, but you're a good looking dude.
Oh, thank you.
Well, of course, yeah.
I got called a 5 yesterday.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, really?
Yeah.
No, who's calling you a 5?
One of my friends.
Okay, well there you go. No,
she's like, yeah, my sister saw you come by the house the other day and she thinks you're a 5, and I'm like, that's
Jesus.
Great. She goes, yeah, and she's like, I just thought because you're my friend, and I thought maybe she's picking on you, but then I was like, I asked my best friend, and my best friend said the same thing, and I was like, all right, cool.
Boy, tough times in LA. We got the whole audience Googling you right now.
I was like,
no, first of all, you're a stand-up comedian 12.
I mean,
let's get that straight.
I was like, thank you, because my mom calls me a 3.
So, but what was dating different before? Because you got in your relationship, like I'm doing the math here, only a year into stand-up. So like, were you able to get most of your dating legs about you before you became a performer?
Well, what happened was I dated both her roommates first.
Really?
Yeah, but that's because I thought she was into what she used to date one of the other guys that like was in our circle.
She called you a 5 and you thought she wasn't into you.
Yeah. And so I was like, oh, okay, so they're but they dated in college. So I was like, oh, maybe they have something they're going to rekindle. I don't know.
So did you have multiple friend groups that were like crossing over? Like you knew all of her roommates and everything. How did you guys all meet?
From her. I met that they all came to like a show. Oh. And then I met her and her roommates. And then I like dated one roommate. Well, kind of like, I don't know, like not like full on relationship, just like dates, and then dates with the other one. And then I left to go on the road for a little bit. I came back, and then she came like randomly to one of my shows, didn't tell me, and I was like, oh, hey. And then we just started hanging out, and then she was like, wanted to date, and I was like, I don't know if this is a good idea. But she was like, no, I think it's a good idea. And then I was like, oh, okay.
Was this down in San Diego?
Yeah.
Now, so let's talk about this. So did her roommates decide that she was better off for you, or was it just her own decision that she kind of saw how you treated them and she was like,
no, her roommates were crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like I can't do this. Bye. And then
you left the roommates.
Yeah.
That actually is probably the best situation, because I feel like if it was the other way around,
if her roommates
there would be
like,
trust issues. If exactly. So she probably saw like sort of a subtle power dynamic that you were kind of like, doing the picking, kind of figuring it out.
I mean,
does she have any now? Because we had Joe Welke on last week, who met his current girlfriend through his podcast where he interviews his Tinder dates, and I was like, dude, that must be tough, because your current girlfriend must think you're gonna fuck the next podcast host.
Wait, so there are girls he's already gone on dates with on Tinder, or he just matches with them on Tinder and then goes, hey, do you want to come on my podcast?
That's it. Matches, has him on.
I mean, they meet first so that the girls can know that he's not like a killer.
So they meet, and then they goes, I actually don't want to go on a date with you. I just want to interview him on my podcast.
No, he tells him right up, like he's got a photo that says his whole thing, which is pretty good for marketing, but also like, you know, even if that's your gimmick, I feel like if you're a female, you're probably still trying to be like into the person, or why would you agree to it? But I'm not, and I told Joe, I'm not shaming Joe. I think we all do different things to try to get laid and or find love. I mean, you can whittle stand-up down, or like whatever your art form is, to like trying to impress a lady, at least, you know. We're trying to do whatever we can here. Or a man or whatever the fuck you want to impress. But with what was my point? Help me out, Tasha. What was I? So Joe met his current girlfriend. I'm digging myself out. He met his current girlfriend, and I was like, geez, that must be tough that like she's gonna think you're gonna try to fall in love with the next one, you know? So like, does your girlfriend wonder, and again, you're so long term in your relationship, but does she wonder if other girls are gonna catch eyes with you at a stand-up show, or does she just trust you and she's like, whatever?
She's like, this guy, like, no. She's like, he's a 5. I'm not worried. Like, what am I worried about?
I settled.
Like, he just dyed his hair purple. Like, who's gonna like want that? Like, she's
hey, that purple is cool.
Oh, thank you very much.
Should I go to another strong color?
I don't
Maroon?
know that you can pull off a color, honey.
I don't think I could either.
You do have great hair, though. It's
Thank
like
you.
Very like Matthew McConaughey.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. I appreciate that.
It looks great. No, you have like luscious locks.
Matthew McConaughey is on my list of dudes I would go fishing with. He's one of my main guys. You've already mentioned two. You mentioned Zac Efron and Matthew McConaughey. And those are.
Dave loves him some Zac Efron. He saw him once at Runyon Canyon, and I've never heard the end of it.
Now, what do you love so much about Zac Efron?
Body-wise, he's the premier body. Body. He's got it all. He's got the chiseled face. I saw this dude.
You don't like him for his talent. You just like him for his looks.
No, we're going to get there. We're going to go the whole thing. His voice is silky smooth. He's a good performer. And then he just has he has his new show on Netflix, right? And I saw, you know how it is being a white dude. Look, I'm not trying to start anything. I'm not trying to start any issues or in the blogosphere world, but as a white guy, you post something, people call you a douchebag right away. So he's got this new show where him and this other older guy who's like friends with Laird Hamilton. I don't remember the dude's name, but he's like just a Malibu like 10. He's a 50-year-old man who's just educated and well-traveled. So they're going all over the world, just like exploring the finer things in life, learning about the different types of spring water in France and the different this and that.
Well, it's about sustainability.
Sustainability. So they're doing all
like healthy food, sustainable practices for water and energy and power.
And I don't defend anything on Facebook. Someone posts, this person's this person's that. I go, whatever. Someone goes, watch that new Zac Efron show. And then someone in the comments goes, ugh, what a douchebag. I go, excuse me? This fucking dude is nice. I mean, imagine, I'm full Zac Efron. Imagine being Zac Efron in the Me Too era and not having one accusation. Not one accusation. How good of a guy must he actually be? Not one person has said anything, because if someone did, it would go straight to the front of the page. That's a good guy. And that's my defense.
No one said something about Chuck Norris either.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Because he would roundhouse kick him.
Yeah.
He'd
arrest him, Texas Walker Ranger style.
He just seems like a cool guy. He had that one movie that flopped where he was like a DJ, and it was him.
Oh, I saw that.
I liked it.
I thought it was good too.
What was it?
He was a DJ, and then there was that that Polish named Krakowski. No, not Krakowski. What's her name? The chick from Blurred Lines.
Emily
Ratajkowski.
Okay.
She was in it. And she ends up, I don't want to give away the movie that no one's watched, but she's dating some douchebag. And then Zac Efron is just like the DJ. He's like polite.
I feel like I may have seen this.
You watched it with me.
You saw it, yeah.
And Zac Efron's like, you got to feel the right RPMs to the beat, and he's doing his whole thing.
Yeah.
And then she falls in love with Zac Efron because he's a good guy. That's it. That's Zac Efron. So he does the big movies, he does the the monster hits, and then he does this podunk show on Netflix. And the nerve of someone to call him a douchebag, but luckily other people defended him and was like, actually no, he actually seems like a really cool guy. He's talking about sustainability. Like, how can you hate this guy? But I was ready to go to bat for Zac Efron. I didn't know.
I love that.
You don't know until you don't know until you're forced to make a decision who's on your fucking team. And Zac Efron is my man. I've seen him a few times. I was at he went to a stand-up show at the Parlor. They used to have a show.
Yeah.
The show was inside, and then there was an outdoor fire pit area with a big glass wall.
Yes.
I'm 6 inches from the glass wall, like looking in, and to my back, leaning against the glass wall, so like 6 inches away is this dude. I was like, this fucking dude's good looking. I was just like taken aback by it because we all know LA's full of good looking people, but I was like, this dude's like Zac Efron good looking. He turns around and I just make eyes with Zac Efron. And I was like, I'm so glad I'm not on this stand-up show because I would use that time to talk to Zac Efron.
Why didn't you just talk to him?
We were separated by a glass, so it wasn't my time.
And then,
say hi. I feel like
can't even. If I ask Dave to make a phone call, he can't do it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Dave cannot just talk to somebody.
Well, that's not true.
Dave, I feel you.
Yeah, I mean, she tries to get me to do
anxiety sometimes. It's just like, listen, what am I going to say this?
Well, that guy, that nice guy that came up, Zac Efron, that nice guy Barrett, who's our neighbor, he came up a couple episodes ago, gave us a bottle of wine, and left a bottle opener. And then afterwards, Tasha was like, you need to go return that to him now.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'll do it tomorrow. She's like, you got to go return it to him now. And it's like, I'm not going to knock on his door. I'm not going to do it. You were really pressing me on that.
Yeah, because you were so nervous over this simple thing. Just go knock on his door, say, hey, thanks so much. Here's your wine, your bottle opener back. But Dave couldn't bring himself to do it. He was like, no, it's too late. It was like close to 9 p.m. And he was like, I got to wait till the morning. I was like, okay, whatever you want. I come home from like work or wherever the next day. It's still sitting on our table.
Yeah.
I was like, these poor people haven't been able to open a bottle of wine for 2 days.
I knocked once and ran away.
Yeah.
He said he was a bartender. He's got probably 10
now,
of those.
what do you think it is that gives you the anxiety?
I don't like to call people. I don't like to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's just.
Like, no one likes doing it, but you just suck it up and do it. Like,
It's
things
like,
that are a little bit unknown or like a tiny bit uncomfortable. You don't know what the person's going to say. Whatever.
Well, like I was telling you before we went on air, when I had someone stomping around up here, and Tasha was like, she's like, you need to go up there and tell them not to make noise on the roof. And I'm like, fuck, right? No, I don't.
Yeah.
And then I came up here, and I mean, we're talking like I waited till they were doing burpees on the roof. And the lights are shaking, and dust is coming down. And it hurt my soul to tell people what to do. It's just
it's not telling someone, hey, do you mind? It's like peeling. It's breaking the paint off our ceiling.
It'd be like if
not jumping right over top.
If we were
us.
at the beach and someone in front of us was shaking out their towel and got sand on us, I would let them get sand all over me before I told them to stop.
Yeah, but that's like a simple mistake. That's 1 second. Like if someone's
I'd be like,
doing a
I'm
full
sorry.
beach body workout up here.
Yeah,
right
but
on
still,
top of you.
it's tough. I come up to the roof and I go, hey guys, look, it's the whole thing. The thing shakes. My chick's a bitch. You got to stop. I mean, I just have a hard time. I don't know what it is. It's just not for me, Tasha.
These are skills that you're going to have to master to be an effective adult.
I'm looking for the cheat code. I don't want to know.
I actually used to be like that. I used to be like really like, oh, I don't want to do this. But then I like started making myself do it. And now
it gets easier. It's
now
way
I
less
kind of
scary.
like doing it. Like now that I know that I'm not, I'll step into it. If I feel like a little awkwardness, I'm like, okay, just step right into it. And then sometimes you're just like controlling it. And then like the other person's just like, let's go. And then you're just like, yep, okay,
There's
cool.
got to be a book
At least
on
I'm
that.
leading the dance, It's like salsa. You're leading the dance.
Yeah.
And you feel all right because you're leading the dance. So you can kind of dictate where it's going.
Make up your mind to go with it.
It'd be like
it's just so much more relieving. Like the anxiety that you feel if you just go like without thinking about it. Okay, so I'm afraid of heights. But the first thing I did when I got here, I don't know if you noticed, I went and looked over all the edges really fast. I went like this and made myself look over it to get over it really fast. Because if not, then I get this weird feeling. Like this is like high to me. This is very high.
Yeah.
And I'm like that's my number one fear.
We're about 40 feet off the ground. It's high enough to kill you. You're going to break a leg. You're going to break a leg.
No, I would die. That looks very high.
I've always thought about if you could survive jumping onto that building. I feel like you could survive, but you're going to break an arm or a leg. But either way, I hear you.
I have no idea, but that's like I'm extremely terrified.
How did you get the fear?
I've just always been scared of heights.
Yeah.
Always been scared. It's insane.
So you manage it. You know your limitation and you address it.
Like if I like someone's like I'll see people like cliff diving or like jumping off a bridge into water, I'll just go do it right away. And like my girlfriend said she's seen me like one time there's like this huge cliff, everyone's cliff diving, and I went up there and she's like sees my legs like just shaking as I'm walking up, and then she's like, yeah, you're just jumping, your legs are wiggling in the air like but I just did it, and then after I get out and I'm like, she's like, oh yeah, she's like, how was it? Do you feel like you conquered that fear? Would you do it again? I'm like, no, I hated every second of that, but like I just make myself over with. It just makes me get over it because then if I don't do it, I'm just like paralyzed fear.
Well, there's got to be
you
some.
don't want to let it control your life, right?
It's just way. I feel way more comfortable that like I looked over the edge.
I was reading something the other day about unfinished projects and how the brain has this sort of if you fail or don't finish something, like quit a project, your brain has this like lingering thing that it does to you. And you don't want to have that be a problem in the future. And I feel like that's the same way if like you ever like went to the edge of a cliff jump and you decided not to do it. It's probably going to eat away at you that you didn't do it, even though it's the biggest thing that scares you.
Yeah.
Like I felt that way when it comes to like, you know, if you I've had like confrontations with people that I wasn't expecting to have. And in the moment I would like freeze or like not address it right. But then in hindsight, I'm like, oh, I should have told that guy to go fuck himself. What the fuck was I thinking? Mm-hmm. And the next time someone does that to me, I'm going to go tell them to go fuck themselves. And I'll like have to like give my like, because the idea, do you have that, Tasha, where you're just like, you know,
yeah, totally.
You want to tell someone to go fuck themselves?
But you ever have that where you're like, oh, but sometimes you'll have something happen to you, kind of freeze, and then you'll redo it to me like, that fucking asshole, but like it's because you didn't get to,
because they led the dance. That's why, because they led the dance, because they jumped into it first. But if you jump into it first before them, you're leading the dance. So if you're leading the dance, you got to lead the dance. You got,
especially the title of this episode.
Especially,
this is really good advice.
Especially if you have a lot of anxiety about it, you need to lead the dance. Because if you don't, you're gonna get paralyzed by the anxiety because you're not doing anything. They're just going at you, and you're like,
yeah, you're at the mercy of the way they want to do it.
Exactly. It's like Mike Tyson says, like, everyone has a plan until they get punched. Well, you let them punch you first, you're gonna freeze up. So you kind of like. Metaphorically have to punch first.
So by walking the perimeter here like a gang member.
You saw me do that.
Yeah,
yes.
By doing that, our dog does that too. He walks the perimeter.
Every time he goes to like a new friend's house that he's never been to before, the first thing he wants to do is sniff the entire perimeter of the house.
Yeah.
Like he just wants to check it out. Who's been here before?
He's leading the dance.
Where I gotta pee. Where I gotta pee.
Yeah. What do I got to know about this area? Yep. So by doing that, you're taking control back, which I would say control is, and that's probably why I didn't want to knock on that guy's door, because I didn't have the control of like, is it gonna answer? I'm gonna, what's the deal? Like we just want control over our things. We don't want a boss to tell us what to do. We don't want surprises. So like you want to create an environment where you have control. I feel like with stand-up, it's the same way. You want to set the table, create a world where like, this is how I'm going to run things. If you're not in my energy of what I'm trying to do, I'm going to kind of put you in place. Like we're going to have friction until we're kind of all
Well, you have more control if you, like I said, if you lead it.
Yeah.
You have less control if you let someone else initiate it.
So lead the dance, and this is the moment where we get to appreciate the sunset over there. Isn't this nice?
It's beautiful.
We go right till sunset. We got to get out of here, but I did want to ask you this: how, for our audience that hasn't checked your stuff out yet, and they will, Stephen, go check out Stephen Briggs. Is it Stephen Briggs Comedy?
Yeah, Stephen Briggs Comedy.
So how did you get? Where does beatboxing come from? You're not just beatboxing, but your what do you call the the dialogue? Things that come out of your mouth. What is? It's all like a very percussive way that you communicate. What is that all called?
Sound effects?
It's just sound effects.
Yeah, I guess.
I try to make it way more band, but your sound effects are amazing.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
You do a very three-dimensional thing with the audience where you say what you're doing and then you kind of make that sound of that environment. Yes. Is that something that was planned, or have you always been
planned?
That way?
I didn't know how to do that before.
Really?
Yeah. I thought about like when I first started stand-up, I thought like, okay, you could just write jokes and you could try to be the best joke writer, but then you're competing against everybody in the world and trying to be the best joke writer in the world. You know what I mean? That's like a heavy hill. And it's like, well, what do people do the least? A lot of people do voices. Okay, well, there's so many people that do good voices. Now that's still a steep hill. It's like, how many people do sound effects? Not that many people. Okay, let's go the least traveled path.
And you had never done sound effects before?
Never. And I was like working on storytelling, and I was like, that's great for that complements storytelling because it's just another paint in your palette to paint the story. It helps people visualize it in their head better.
And you know what I love about it is that it's not a moment where an audience is expecting like a punchline. So it gives you the chance to just like you said, put that palette down. It's like, this isn't the Bob Ross finished tree, but we're doing the clouds. We're doing
it's
this.
just something to emphasize what, like, so it kind of like brings the story more to life for them. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you know, I say something and then I do the sound effect. It's like, okay, cool. Like, oh, you're really there now. It's kind of like, oh, whoa. And then you go into like a punchline after that. And it's like, you know, it's just kind of like something to distinguish from.
Now, how do you work that out? How do you work that out with your voice? Because sometimes the sounds you're making into a microphone aren't necessarily the sounds that would be there like a cappella. You know what I mean? So like, am I wrong about that?
What do you
like
mean?
Sometimes when you're like doing a beatbox or something into a microphone, that might be hard to just work out. Like, are you literally just sitting going like, all right, I'm gonna tell a joke about where they open the door, and let's work on a door opening sound.
Yeah.
And then you just figure out what that sound is.
Like that, yeah.
And you just start doing that.
Or I'll figure out a sound and I'll be like, where can I place that? You know what I mean? Like I was like, oh, I can do like water dropping or like, you know, a horse or like a car or like.
Are you on TikTok?
Yes.
Are you doing this on TikTok? Because I feel like this would take the F off.
I mean, I do it a little bit on TikTok. Probably should do it more.
Because that's like a whole challenge, right? That was a challenge where people are like, make this sound, and they'll like crush a can, and then the person's like.
Oh, really?
Wait, Tasha, are we starting a new career with you? Make this can sound again. One more time. Tasha Courtney, everyone.
I'm going to do that now.
No, it's a thing on TikTok where people go, make this sound.
We're recording a TikTok right now.
Yeah.
I'm just going to TikTok it right now.
What can you, and I can know.
What sound should I do?
I don't know. What's in your catalog?
I can do a helicopter. I can do a lot of stuff.
A helicopter's a great start.
I did a video where it's like 50 sound effects like in a row.
Yeah, give us I was going to hopefully.
You should do like the sounds of Los Angeles.
Okay.
And do that on your TikTok.
I'll do, what did you say now? You said do mimic the sound? Is that what it was?
Yeah. I don't know if that's the hashtag, but.
Okay, we'll just do it and then we'll put it up. Okay. You mimic the sound, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Mimic this sound. That's a car. Okay. I didn't leave that's a car. We'll see how it sounds. Okay. Mimic this sound.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's a car. That's an old car.
And I'll just put like in the text at the very end, that's a car.
Yeah, you need to do this. You got to give us a helicopter too.
Okay.
Is helicopter an easy one?
Yeah, helicopter's easy.
Oh, we literally just heard a car crashing in the background.
Yeah, you get a little slide there going on. Okay. Let me turn the sound down because now it's like weird. Helicopter, okay. That's like a helicopter, right?
Feels like we have a helicopter here.
How do you catalog your sounds? Do you just remember them or do you like write them all down?
I just remember them.
You just remember them all?
Yeah, and then I kind of like put them into material right away. And then once I do that, once it's in material, then it's kind of like I know. It's like, okay, there's that and this.
This is like I had to follow a comic who played guitar, and I bombed so hard after this dude. He just fucking crushed. But that's the same. You've got that same thing where like I would hate to have to follow that beatbox song that you do.
Oh,
that was like before YouTube existed, where like there was this really popular
like beatboxing and talking at the same time. Yeah, that's like so. I did that too because I'd never seen anybody. I seen comics beatbox before, but I'd never seen a comic beatbox and talk at the same time.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's something else to separate. Like it's a down the left.
It's
path.
really cool. It's a good closer. Could we end on that?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Are you cool doing that? I hate that. I mean, you always hate to ask people, but let me outro it and then we'll do that. Okay.
Okay.
So this was episode 401. As always, I am Dave Neal with Tasha Courtney, and thank you so much for Stephen Briggs. Give it up for him, everybody.
Thank you so much. Okay, here we go. Okay. I'm just a bachelor. Looking for a partner. Someone who does it right. Without even balling pop. Something like that.
Yeah, that was great.
So good.
And then how can people find you? Instagram and all that. YouTube, Stephen Briggs Comedy.
Just Stephen Briggs Comedy, everything.
I just checked out your video, your DMT video. You're getting DMT. So everyone who's listening, go check out Stephen Briggs. Go support him over there. Comment on all of his stuff. And thank you so much for being on the Sunset Rooftop SAP episode. This was
Best
it, everyone.
Podcast.
Not a bad vibe. Go check
Yes.
us out on YouTube and see. You can watch us if you were just on the listening audio only. We're on YouTube. And also Tasha's YouTube. We got to give you a shout out as well. Tasha just launched her astrophotography blog. So go
nice.
check that out. It's wearetravels.com. So you can actually read the different blogs that we have up there, and then you can see all the videos on the Tasha Courtney YouTube. Did I get it all, Tasha?
Yeah, I think you got it.
Thanks again for joining the episode. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
That was great.
That was a great way to end it.
Yeah.